The Smarter Balance Assessment Test is controversial. Parents don't like it, students don't like it, and guess what? Teachers don't like it. But what can they do about it? This is the Delaware Way. Welcome to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. The Smarter Balanced Assessment Test is a controversial standardized test in Delaware that parents thought for a while they'd be able to opt out of. That may not be the case anymore, but you may be surprised to find out it's not just parents who are against it. Teachers can be too. Frederika Jenner is the president of the Delaware State Education Association. It is the educators union in the state of Delaware. Thank you so much for being here. What problem do educators have with the standard balance assessment test?
The test is a bit mysterious. Nobody ever gets to see the test. Parents get results, but they never get to see what their child got right or got wrong. Teachers find that a difficult place to be left in as well. It's helpful to know whether the child scored in the first or the second or the third or the fourth group, fourth being the top. But if I don't know what Johnny got right and got wrong, I can't really make a plan for how to improve that. But more important to us is not concerns about this particular test, while they do exist. It's really looking for a way to get to a test that makes everybody happy, that everybody is satisfied with, that meets the needs of parents, that meets the needs of teachers, and also is relevant to students. So one of the things that we have tried to message is the idea of what is it that makes a really good test, and work towards having an assessment or a group of assessments that fulfill those needs.
The concern among other teachers' unions, educators' unions, is that the test would then be used as a way of rating the teachers.
Yes. In the last 15 years, state tests in Delaware and other places have been used to rate, rank, and label students, classrooms, schools, educators. And these are tests that are generally not intended for that. So they're taking a test that's supposed to measure student achievement and sort of, in a way, false fitting it into another purpose.
Yeah, because in the past standardized tests, nobody ever is going to come out and say, these tests are to find out how good of a teacher you are. Nobody's ever going to come out and say that. And yet tests have been used that way in the past.
And we've had standardized tests for generations. I remember taking them when I was in school. They weren't given every year, and they weren't given for the purpose of rating and ranking all of those groups, like I mentioned. It was just to measure student progress.
But the stated purpose is not to, what I'm saying is that even though there might be a concern by teachers and educators that it's being used, that's never been the stated purpose. And so do you have any proof that it would be used that way?
Oh yeah, it has very much been the stated purpose.
To rate teachers?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
The stated purpose in Delaware?
Yeah,
or
absolutely, across the country. Here in Delaware as well, because it was used as a major indicator of what's called teacher effectiveness. It was used as part of the, it's still used as part of the evaluation system.
Yeah, and I understand where the disparity is coming from. Yes, it is how effectively you are teaching this, but that it wouldn't be used to discipline a teacher, fire a teacher, hold a teacher back from more pay. They're the things.
I disagree. That's always been part of that story.
But it's never been the stated purpose.
It's part of the evaluation system, and it's been made very, very clear that it could have those consequences.
And that's your concern? Is that the major concern?
I don't know if it's the major concern. It certainly is part of the picture. Teachers are used to testing. Teachers created tests. They still do. Teachers are very interested in measuring how their students are learning and also the effectiveness of their teaching. I taught for 39 years. I'm a science teacher in a middle school. There wasn't a time when I gave a quiz or a test that I wasn't looking both at how George did on the test compared to how he did the last time or how it compares with his classwork, where I didn't measure my own success. And trust me, there have been times when I've gone, oh my gosh, they didn't get it, and it's not them, it's me.
Parents didn't like the test. It went to the House and the Senate. They voted against the test. Teachers, educators don't like the test. It seemed like one guy really liked the test, and that was the governor. And he vetoed the bill, and he said, I don't care what parents think. I don't care what the polls say. I want this bill. So in many ways, the horse has left the barn, right? I mean, what can you do now?
Well, you know, you're referring to the whole opt-out movement,
right,
which I was just thinking about this last night. I don't recall there ever being an opt-out movement with the previous test. You know, this is our third test in Delaware in 8 years. We had students last year in 11th grade who would have taken the DSTP, which was a paper and pencil test given across the state. Then they would have taken the DCAS as they went through grades, and last year they would have taken the SBAC. So we've had a number of state tests and a number of experiences with them. It really wasn't until SBAC was introduced that parents in particular and a number of educators then said, wait a minute, this is not the situation we want to find ourselves in, so how can we demonstrate our objection to it? And parents primarily made it their mission, not all parents, but a large number of parents to say, well, I just won't have my child take that test. Not every teacher objects to this test. Not every parent objects to this test. But there are some concerns about the test. So let me talk about a couple of things.
Okay.
We are looking for a test that's high quality. I don't know if this is a high quality test. We've never seen it. Nobody ever gets to see it but the child taking it. Because it's administered on a computer, Johnny gets to see the question after question, but I, as the administrator, never get to see the complete test. So that leaves a lot to be, you know, wondered about. There are concerns about whether this test is valid, whether it actually is constructed so it's measuring what I teach, and what I teach matches what's being tested. There are concerns about whether it's reliable, whether the results would play out. Like if Johnny took the test this time and took it again, would the results be similar?
So the only thing you can do is object to it and hope to amend it, or hope to see it.
Hope to improve it, or hope to come up with, like I said earlier, the test, a test that actually does all the things that teachers and parents and students want a test to do.
Well, good luck. They're going crazy because I'm way over time. But thank you so much. It was great to talk to you.
It'll be interesting to see how this is edited.
Frederika Jenner, you'll look great. President of the Delaware State Education Association. When we come back, it's race time. We're going to talk about the Wilmington Grand Prix when the Delaware Way continues.